the last thing you want to be is a Jill sandwich, unless of course you're between two Jills. But this deck is pretty awesome because it stars Jill from Final Fantasy 16, but also it's a deck type that I don't normally do that often, which is pretty much hard control, and that's because there's loads of very potent and the best counters in the game, you know, Wash Away, Mana Drain, Memory Lapse, Negate, all this stuff, Cyclonic Rift, just bounces stuff. We've got Sapphire Medallion, makes us cheaper. Winter Moon makes our opponent not play if they've got multicolour stuff. We've got extra turn spells, Time Warp and Temporal Manipulation. So yeah, you get the picture. It's a pretty powerful shell, you know, blue. Jill works fairly well in it because she comes down and bounces a non-permanent, which is really strong, especially when you couple it with Panamonican just to get, you know, double triggers. We've also got Thassa to keep doing it over and over again, and the amazing Y'shtola rule, which lets you have 2 end steps and then you get to double flicker. So Y'shtola rule is like having 2 Thassas, essentially. So she's kind of bonkers. So bouncing. I think our worst nightmare is facing a kind of control-y build because they probably don't have many things out on the field, so Jill doesn't really do much. Jill, there's the other thing, Jill doesn't really do much unless your opponent has things. And if they see you have Jill, they might not play things out. So it definitely is an interesting dichotomy to have. Bear in mind, you can also bounce one of your things. I think we'll return up to one other non-opponent. Yeah, so you can bounce your own sagas. Yeah, it can. So let's say you had someone Bahamut out, destroyed a few things. You want to reset it, play Jill, bounce back to your hand. It's very slow doing that, but yeah, you get the picture. So essentially you want to play Jill out, get some tempo advantage, slow your opponent down to Kingdom Come, and remember, the more things you bounce, the better Ristic Study is, because then they have to redeploy those things, and then you can counter them as well once they're in their hand. So there's a lot of interplay here. Bouncing is super important to blue, because blue doesn't really just have straight up kill. We normally have stuff like Witness Protection, or the new Sleep Magic, which just taps something, which is very strong. Taps creatures and don't let them do anything. You know, against a Ragavan, this is almost better than killing it, because if you kill a Ragavan, they can recast it, right? And don't forget, guys, you've also got, you know, Cryptic Command in the format now, which is just absurd. Had to try it. Also just going to try the Regalia as well, because it's land ramp in blue. So hopefully you enjoy this video. I'm sure you will. Any mono blue players out there, also fans of Final Fantasy 16, look at this artwork, it's so cool. Don't forget to leave a like and a subscribe. If you support the channel that way, then it's just really great. It really supports me. Thank you so much for all my supporters. But if you want to go further, you can also become a channel patron, where you get your own custom video. So check out the details in my description box. We go second, but we've got some really great controlling elements here to prevent our 5-color opponent doing things. Winter Moon is going to just absolutely annihilate them, I think. Assuming that they have not just any more of these basics. Oh my god, and the Mana Drain as well. So we'll definitely leave that up. As I said, I don't normally play decks like this, because I'm not like massively into hard control, but when I do it, it can be fun, because it's just a bit different, right? So I played another non-basic, and they've put that into the hand. So do we just want to bounce this to the hand? Probably not, because we want to use it to bounce something else. Okay, so we didn't get the mana that we needed. But you know what? We've still got the Mana Drain. Our hand is absolutely stacked as long as we can get that third land. Come on, give us the third land. World Tree. God damn. They're ramping hard. So now I'm thinking maybe we just bounce it back to the hand, because I don't want them playing... Okay, yeah, okay, fine. They're forcing me hand. They're forcing me hand, guys. Jesus Christ. That's crazy. They're at 6 mana now. They could play Ramos. Gigantha. We'll try Mana Drain that. Okay, nice. So we get 5 mana to play with, which involves Winter Moon. Crazy. Oh boy. I think they should panic now. Yep. Probably should have done that the other way around, shouldn't I? Play the Midnight Clock first. And then Winter Moon. Oh well, whatever. We've still got the mana. We've got Counterspell and Wash Away, just in case. And with just half their lands as well, which is pretty crazy. So it's funny how powerful just a 2-mana artifact can be. It's a very mean card. The Tension Sphere, yeah, we'll stop that. We don't want them to get rid of either of our things here. Okay. Go for the Narset, I suppose. Mind and body insane. That just goes to show how few lands you need as a blue player just to piss someone off. Oh, brutal. Alright, we'll keep this awkward hand. We've mulliganed once already. See how it goes. Panel mulligan could be decent if they've got lots of stuff. We could have countered that, but I don't see any point, really. Lightning Bolt for the Brawl? No? Oh, and they have a sorcery version. Fair enough. Okie dokie, then. Back to square one we go. At least we've got lots of lands. It doesn't look good having just lands, but I guess we get to just keep stuff. I think we're just going to go for the Jill next turn. Jill, bounce Vaughn, and then we can dispel to protect her from a kill spell. I think that's okay. The thing about Jill is when you flip her, it's not even that like monumental, right? It's okay. It is a bit oddly designed, I think. I think not being able to like keep her kind of, you can't really use it by herself. You need other things to make her quite good. Like, yes, she becomes a 4/5. She makes another creature. Well, she makes herself unblockable, but the thing is, when you flip her, she can't attack. You know what I'm saying? So it feels a bit like, roast. Well, there she goes. We're certainly getting rid of all their kill spells, at least. Okay, so they can play Dispel to end the turn. That felt kind of meh. You just bounce the count on luck. I mean, to be honest, we might as well bounce that as well, right? Because we've got no spells in the graveyard anyway, and the only thing we've got is counter spells, which don't actually work with Dively very well. It's very awkward for them. Another kill spell. Jesus Christ, how many is that? That's 4 in a row. Okay, well, 7-mana Jill doesn't feel so great, does it? That's a... Do they really have another? Well, we'll find out. Up to one other. If it said herself, this would just be crazy. You could just keep looping it over and over again. Okay. If we get the Yashala rule or the Thassa out with Jill one turn, can we keep Jill for 1 turn, perhaps? That would be nice. It's funny how we've managed to stall them for so long. Amazing. So, with Yashala rule, we're going to get 4 triggers if this comes in again. Not that it's going to really matter, because I only have 2 things. But yeah, this is a hell of a lot of bouncy bounce. The ultimate tempo. Now, Yashala rule has 5 toughness. I'm not saying it's impossible to kill. We'll just bounce itself, because there's nothing else to target with this anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. 5 damage to each creature would be pretty devastating, I have to say. And then Jill will cost 9, but my god. This is the weird thing about this deck, guys. You win without ever dealing enough damage to kill them. This is a very psychological deck. Strange, right? You're winning through frustration, I suppose. Even though we're not even just countering stuff. This is a tempo-based build. And you never ever hear anyone say, oh, I really hate tempo builds. I just can never just keep my creatures on the field. Everyone always talks about counter spells, but we're not even doing that much. Right, we'll give this a go. I assume that being mono black, they're going to have loads of permission spells and ways to kill our creatures. Not really that bothered, to be honest, if Jill dies, because her main task is to bounce things, right? So strict serenade. We'll let that slide. I'd rather serenade than Maha. Fantastic. And the Thassa, I think that's going to be very frustrating for them. I don't think people realise how annoying Thassa is anymore. It's just barely played as much anymore. So they're going to make us discard loads of crap. But we're going to bounce all their crap as well. I think this is just game over already, guys. Do they realise it yet? Has it clicked yet? They're not going to resolve anything ever again. So she dies. Okay, that's fine. Now we get the bigger one, bigger thing. Sweet. Oh, why is the wife hoovering at 11 o'clock? God damn it. Yeah, we'll slow them down again. Absolutely brutal. We're winning games today, guys, just through sheer... I don't even know what word to use. Alright, good. We're going to hopefully demoralise the Coaches player next. Unless they go for a Thoughtseize turn 1, which would be annoying. But yeah, Winter Moon is definitely a surgical tool here, just to get rid of multicoloured decks. Green, okay. Utopia Sprawl, fair enough. Well, we can bounce that later on anyway, so I think I'd rather... Yeah, let's go for the Winter Moon here. Now, this is... By proactively playing this, it does make the opponent play differently. So they're likely just going to cast basics now. Or play basics, I should say. We'll see what they do, though. Every non-basic is now a hindrance to them until they can get rid of this. So, I don't even feel dirty, you know, because all my opponents these days are very powerful players and commanders. So, we need to slow them down. We've also got such a great answer for their commander. Indestructible? Sure, we don't care. None of our cards destroy. All of our cards either bounce, exile, or tap. So they know that whatever they play is probably going to bounce. Like Blade Reforged. Sure thing. My god, my house is noisy. So I've recently moved house, and the boiler is ridiculous. It sounds like something from Mordor. It sounds like, you know, when Pyramid Head drags his sword across the floor. That's what it sounds like. So here comes Cotis. They've got green mana up, though, so they could have some kind of protection spell, to be fair. Let's see. Do they have a protection spell? No? Okay. Now, our next problem is we don't really have any follow-ups to this, so hopefully we can draw something good. Something to flicker Jill or bounce or something. The thing is, if they kill Jill, then we can replay Jill. So. Sword. Oh my goodness, that's fantastic. So they can't block Jill now? So basically, they're going to get a massive hit on us, but... God damn it, we can't play any of these. Sure. If they want to get through, they have to use the Black Blade on this, which is equip 3, and then maybe some kind of trample. If they do, they do. Let's just hope they only steal counter spells, which means they can't use them. So maybe equipping Jill with this sword was a bad idea, even though she has a sword, she has a rapier in her hand. So we gave her the sword, but maybe it would have been better on the Brawl. I don't know. Because when we flip her, she drops the sword anyway, becomes Shiva. Kind of cool flavor, because in the game she doesn't have swords as the Shiva summon. She just, you know, gigantic woman with ice powers. So they're thinking about equipping Kotis with the sword. Or maybe killing... Sure. So they're actually thinking about blocking with this. Interesting. Okay. They don't know we have an extra turn coming up. Many thanks. Many thanks. Imrith is good. Nice. Let's get some juicy cards. Come on. They're not juicy. Well, our whole hand is empty. If they have a destruction spell, then we're absolutely screwed, right? But I did the best I could. So they might just be luring... They might just be luring me into it, to be fair. 6-5. Any trample on this? Not yet. They could give it trample. We've got 3 mana up. Anything else? Shadow Spear. Okay. Equip it. 7-6. Trample, lifelink, indestructible. Let's prevent some of that. So we'll prevent 4. So they get to look at the top 3. Fair enough. But we do have Imrith and Jill, so counter spell and a bounce spell. So they can bounce Jill or the sword. Oh no, anything. Yeah, because it's protection from green and yeah. If they bounce Jill, that would be stupid. Because then I could just bounce Kotis. Huh? That was weird. I was going to say, did they just try and kick that? I think they did. They're trying to kick it in addition. We can't because you've not got any mana open. They went for the sword. What? Oh, because the ward. The sword is the ward. Question is, do we actually... Yeah, we smack, right? We're trying to race them. We get to draw 3 cards on top of this as well, so... Let's get some goodies here. This is a set of 5 things we get to see and do. So that's our hand. Magic Damper lets us untap. Memory Deluge. Okay, well, let's see what we get. Okay. So we can untap the Umrith if we want to, or just leave up the mana drain. I think we leave up the mana drain. They don't know we have that. And as I said, our deck is mostly reactive spells or some bouncy things, so... we also have... We have Time Warp in the graveyard, and we have Mystic Sanctuary, right? So if we play our cards right, literally, we can... So they're going to get 11 cards at the top. Okay, go for it. It's because this is going to be the craziest kind of thing ever. So let's see how many counter spells they got. They got... Yeah, I'm not even that worried, to be honest, about most of them. We can counter some of them as well. Ultimecia taps all our stuff. What's worse than that, though? Narset. I don't really care about Ultimecia, do I? That is a blocker. What's worse? Is Narset worse? We're going to get an extra turn anyway. Yeah, we'll stop Ultimecia. That's 6 mana. Unless I have a way to prevent us countering it, in which case it won't really do much.
My prowess is unmatched.
So Narset doesn't stop us getting an extra turn, that's for sure. 14 power. 15. So we desperately need something good. They're going to have 1, 2, 3 and a bit up mana. They've got blue in the deck. So do they just play out more things? Or do they have a reactionary spell? To be honest, considering they stole top 12, would have been a hell of a lot worse, couldn't it, guys? They're at 25 life as well. That's crazy. Consuming Tide is just insanity. So we're going to put Time Warp on top. Take action. So the issue is drawing a card, isn't it? That's the issue here. But it doesn't matter because we can use the Time Warp off the top when Imrith hits them. Well, let's hope it can hit them anyway. Let's see what they do. Any reactionary spells? Oh, they got protection. Okay, yeah, that's fine. We get protection, that's fine. Do they have anything? Yeah, so Time Warp goes on the top. So we don't get to draw anything because of Narset. It's fine. So if they counter this, we still have Consuming Tide. We could actually just Consuming Tide anyway and get everything back to our hand, which kind of is insane. Wow, that is actually amazing. If this resolves, I think we just win. Because they're going to get to keep one thing and we get all our stuff back to our hand. Ludicrous. Ludicrous. We have built a very powerful deck here. Especially if we can just play around with the Kotis. Just teasing him. To hand. So they've got a 2-1 Kotis. But remember, we have an extra turn. And we can also just bounce the Kotis to the hand anyway. And they've got balls to think they can win this game. Okay. Still think you can win. Let's just go in with both. Down to 9. Oh my god. This is crazy. So we can't play either of those. That's a shame. But we can play Winter Moon to slow them down. The fact that our blue spells cost 1 less is just ridiculous as well. Not really much they can do here. And yet they're still in the game, apparently. Negate. Well, we've got negate for 1 blue. Yeah, that's it. That's game over for them. No mercy for a Kotis player. Absolutely no mercy. At least I'm using a different commander. What we got? Brutal. We've used the most brutal blue cards. You know what, though? I never see anyone use Imrith and equip with swords. I think the Arena is this really crazy echo chamber of people using only the most popular decks. And because, you know, channels like LVD and CGP and Amazonian get like 40,000 views per video, there's 120,000 people seeing 3 people's decks. You're going to get a lot of the high tier powerful decks in Arena, right? But here's the interesting kind of, not the social experiment about that, but if you know people are just copying and pasting those 3 people's powerful decks, you have a huge advantage. You know, you can play the meta. And if you look at a lot of my videos, something that sadly doesn't really get across to quite a lot of people is I use cards that no one else really expects to see, And that gives you an advantage. If you're using stuff that people had never faced before, like how many Imriths have you really seen equipped with a sword? Or, it's just, I know I am using a lot of, really powerful toxic cards, Time Warp, Mana Drain, but if you just mix those up with some weird things like Jill, it just gives you this advantage. People are just not used to it. And yeah, beating a deck like Kotis feels fantastic because Kotis is heavily played in the meta, very powerful deck, but if you can disrupt it just with a few things, then you're going to have yourself a really good time in Arena. I think one of the next things would be trying to find a good way to deal with Vivi. I'm not sure if Jill is the correct answer to deal with Vivi, but, being able to bounce Vivi over and over again is pretty good. So yeah, use different cards is basically what I'm trying to say. Did you know that you can help my channel by watching another one of my videos? Go ahead, you want to.